It was a very suspicious scene.
There were two people present at the time. The one was left dead in the apartment and the other is still out walking around.
My whole world stood still. There has to be restitution somewhere.
A young mother's mysterious death unsolved, her killer still out there.
Years after her murder, the cold case is put in the hands of a Norman police detective who won't give up.
I have a theory as to how and why her death happened, and I think it fits with all of the evidence.
Detective Jim Parks with the Norman Police Department's cold case unit intends to prove that theory.
There's more information out there. I have to go through the entire book, read every piece of paper that was produced by multiple officers, multiple investigators.
Beginning with the first report filed on September 25th, 2013.
I was on patrol at the time, and we got a welfare check.
Detective Ryan Brule and his partner were the first officers on the scene.
Her friends had came up from, I believe, Anadarko, and they were concerned about their friend, and I met them out on the road.
27-year-old Awashigi Osceola lived inside the duplex apartment. They hadn't heard from Awashigi for days and were worried after seeing this post on social media.
They were coming up, Moose is trying to kill me.
First thing we noticed was the front door being kicked in.
As the officers made their way through the apartment, they soon realized they were walking into a crime scene.
It just looked like that bedroom was a little bit disheveled. Most of the bedding was off on the floor. To me, it looked like a disturbance had taken place in that bedroom.
They found the lifeless body of the young mother under a blanket.
We found it very suspicious the way we found her. If somebody was under a blanket and deceased, somebody had probably put that blanket on top of them.
Homicide detectives were called in as news soon made it to Awashigi's mother in Florida.
The day when I was informed that my daughter was murdered, I'm still there. I haven't moved on yet.
Roberta Sherlock said her daughter was recently divorced and trying to make a new life for herself and her young daughter, who was with her father at the time of the murder.
She had that kind of a magnetic personality to where everybody loved her and wanted to be around her. Whoever did this to her, I want them brought to justice.
The medical examiner ruled Awashigi's cause of death as undetermined. 5 years later, the family believes there's more to the story, and they've put all their hopes into Detective Parks being able to find the killer.
We figured out who Moose was, and we were able to eliminate him. He had a solid alibi.
Parks believes the post was meant to throw investigators off. DNA samples collected on other initial suspects have weeded the suspect pool down to one.
But it was somebody she knew. I have a pretty good idea who it is. I have a pretty good idea how and why it happened.
And with each day, he feels closer to proving it.
I think I've got a real good possibility of getting charges filed in this case.
To help ease her mother's grief,
I want this to end so she can rest in peace.
the family is offering a $40,000 reward to anyone who can provide information that leads to an arrest in that case.